Could an ordinary foreigner survive on a Chinese countryside? I asked you that questions and you told me what are the things you cannot live without. So today we will look at that and I will try to find out if things like a fresh bread, draft beer or like ordinary toilet are also available on a Chinese countryside. When I asked my followers on Slovak channel what would they need to survive in a Chinese countryside, they told me bread, homemade bread, and if there are any bakeries. And yes, there are quite a few bakeries in this village I live in, and I'm going to one of them right now, which is opened by a Canadian person called Peter, and it's also a small restaurant. This is the place. It's hidden in a small courtyard and it's quite a private place, which is very nice. Seems the owner is not here right now and I know what I'm gonna order. This is a nice place with the view of the whole courtyard. So I'm gonna get a Philadelphia sandwich. I had it last time and it's really delicious. It's a homemade baguette because this is also a bakery. They made baguettes, they made sour breads, they make all kinds of cakes and cinnamon rolls and etc. And there is also a sour cabbage inside the sandwich, which many people ask if there is possible to buy a sour cabbage in China. Yes, especially North China is quite popular. Also, I will get a beer because many people told me that they would not survive without a good draft beer, and they do have it here. 啊，这我直接点的。可以。可以吗？这是我上次小马点的。我知道什么，我是当地的。
哦，你住哪里？
西麦场黄花坪。
西麦场黄花坪。哦，
是的。
这边也挺近的啊。
是的。So I just got the beer. It's a draft beer, IPA. It's quite nice. I just got a small one because I'm planning to go to the gym. So this is only because you asked. So I sacrificed myself and ordered one. I'm looking forward to it. I was also making bread by myself at home, sourdough bread and quite a few kinds, but actually I stopped because my sourdough got mold in it, so it was not a very successful experiment. And I'm also not very good in baking my own bread, and it's much easier to buy bread here. But also people ask me if it is possible to buy a flour for bread baking here in the Chinese countryside, and it's a little bit tricky. I used to buy it online, and many people who make bread by themselves buy it online because the selection is much wider, and I used to buy imported French flour for bread baking. However, you can also buy some flour in the shop. So this is a local supermarket, so let's take a look of the things. My subscribers told me that they wouldn't survive without on the Chinese countryside. Some of you told me that you wouldn't survive without an oatmeal. Well, that's not a problem. We have oatmeal here, like a big selection of these, because even Chinese people quite like them. So we have flour here, so you can buy it in the local shop. However, the selection is very limited. In the closest city, which is 30 kilometers far away from here, the selection is better, but still not the best. So shopping online for flour would be a better option. Shops like these, there are quite a few in this village. I think 3 of them. This one is the biggest one, however the most strange one, because even though it's the biggest one, I always cannot find what I'm looking for, and the things I'm looking for usually I can find in the smaller shops, which is kind of strange. A thing that they don't have in this shop is fresh vegetables and fruit, and they don't have that in the shops because there is a marketplace in the village which is open every day, and the selection is quite big of fresh fruits and vegetables. 今天就这些吧。But also every Friday there is a local market on the streets where villagers from other places, other villages or smaller cities come here and sell their homegrown products. But not only that, the market street is huge. It's every Friday, and it's also one of the most attractive things in this village for foreign as well as local tourists, because it is called one of the last traditional markets on the Tea and a Horse Road, even though that's not really true. There are quite a few in in China and in this province, but this one is probably the most famous one. So the Philadelphia sandwich just arrived and it looks amazing. Today I ordered with baked potatoes. Last time I had it with spinach, which are two options, and last time I was not planning to go to the gym, but today I have that plan. I have to go, so because I wanted to try the potatoes. So looks great. Many of you ask me about like the social activities, what kind of things we can do here in Chinese countryside. If there is music, concert, theaters, cinemas, etc. And not so many actually. There is a live music in few pubs here in Shaxi and also the street artists which we have seen, for example. But other than that, it's not so many. There is no theater nor is a cinema, but sometimes we meet up with our friends. Few of them have small shops here, and two of them even have a small gym with quite a big common space, and we do some activities there. For example, this village is special, as I said, and one thing where you can see it as well is the question of alcohol, because quite a few people wrote me that they would not be able to survive without our local Slovakian alcohol, a local Slovak spirit, which is called slivovica, and well, you cannot find slivovica in Chinese countryside. However, you still can find a local homemade alcohol, and I have even visited a distillery deep into the mountains. We took a drive around 2 hours into the mountains, the end of the journey where there were almost no roads, and we visited an old guy in the mountains who was making a homemade spirit with his son, and that was quite an unique experience, I have to say. I was shooting with him the whole day, and after the shooting I was a little bit tipsy, maybe because, well, I had to try. 这正在酿酒的是吗？对，正在烧。对，是烧的，吃些。这股是啥吧？看到些么股是啥？你那多少标？那是多好。我吃个，我那个。我别了，就是只开始搞，我刚刚都开始这些那个工作，不止把去不止那咋的？这个。这谁用啊？去搞你呀！现在几这样了。还是很香，还是白酒的味道。我咱们都是一会儿的哈，我咱能那个不好，好吃，你可以煮出去蒸。这样的话就煮多还可以。还可以，大概多少度？大概还挺纯的，反正大概。反正个你可倒是50度以上，不会低于50度啊。哇，好喝，好喝，挺辣的。日的白酒我还没喝过的，这是白酒茶。对，这就是新鲜，完全新鲜的热的，它不容易让人醉。 是吗？日子不能让人醉嘛。
对，但是等到你发现你已经不行的时候，你就站不起来了。
对啊。
少了。
记了，你来尝一尝。But this village is special because you can also try a Western alcohol without any problems. There are quite a few whiskey bars in this village. Even my favorite coffee house has a whiskey with quite okay prices. There is also one whiskey bar next to me, and there is also a wine bar and quite a few pubs. So there is no problem of buying Western alcohol in this village. In a normal Chinese countryside, well, that would be a problem. But since this is a place visited by many foreign tourists as well as Chinese tourists from bigger cities, that is not an issue here. The bakeries in this village are not traditional bakeries like we have in Europe. They are more like restaurants with bread, so it's a little bit more expensive. The one I was in, that's tiny bread like this, sour bread, costs 22 RMB, which there is also one more place where to get bread, and it's this place. The owner is an American guy, and he has the best bread in the village. There are also like few more tiny places. For example, there is this Taiwanese girl who makes bread or pastries every day, but every day she makes something different. So you have to follow her on social media and see what has she prepared for the day, or you can also order in advance and she will prepare it for you. So I'm just going to take a look if she's working today or not. So this is the small bakery of the Taiwanese girl. However, everything is sold out because it's 4:30. But I can at least show you on, like, this is from her social media, what kind of things she sells. They're quite tasty. I have had quite a few times. Maybe next time I will try to come sooner. One thing I cannot live without, it's a place to do my exercise, to train. Fortunately, we have a great gym in this place. So I'm gonna have my workout and I will see you in the next video. Bye.